What's up, YouTube? Ryan Panny here. Hope you guys are doing reasonably well. Totally unexpected, as tends to happen in music these days, but Avenged Sevenfold dropped a new song this weekend. It's called Set Me Free. It's a B-side to their 2013 Hail to the King sessions, which is definitely the record in their catalog that I personally return to the least, but I still have substantial respect for both the clarity and the precise execution of this particular retro vision that they had on that record. Hail to the King is a record where, like it or not, the band had a very specific goal in mind. They successfully brought that goal to fruition, and there's only so much you can really say to knock that. Anyway, Set Me Free more broadly is meant to be a teaser for the upcoming streaming version of the band's 2008 B-side album Diamonds in the Rough, which, in case you forgot, looks a little bit something like this. That's coming on February 7th. Maybe I'll re-review that. I definitely remember liking it when it came out. I just haven't listened to it in fucking forever. I will tell you though, it was a fucking tragedy that the band did a whole fucking tour on the back end of this record. Like, they even had merch at the shows with the album art. I remember it. And they didn't play a single song from it live. What the fuck? If I have one constant criticism of Avenged Sevenfold, it's that when they put their live set lists together, they really are slaves to their fucking hits. Like, they don't shake things up nearly enough the way Iron Maiden do, or even Metallica do. And this is a catalog with so many deep cuts that so many people would want to hear. But anyway, this whole Diamonds in the Rough streaming version thing, it's undoubtedly just a holdover for fans as we await the highly anticipated follow-up to 2016's The Stage record, which is a record that I loved at the time and still do, frankly. But until we have a new record, this is interesting to talk about. You know, whenever a band releases a B-side, your first instinct as a fan is to try and figure out why it was left off that particular record. Did it just not fit the particular vibe of that record? Or was it just simply not good enough? And you know, after listening to Set Me Free several times this weekend, I've come to the conclusion that I think it's both. So first off, in regards to whether or not Set Me Free would fit neatly into that Hail to the King track list, you immediately notice here that the clean guitars in the intro here are very much part two of Crimson Day. Same simple, open, arpeggiated chord approach, same rich, clean tone. Now, considering what a momentum stopper Crimson Day was on that record, which it was a necessary one because you had 5 heavy songs up front, I can't imagine the tracklist having room for another similarly paced song, which is what this is. And you gotta imagine the band were thinking the exact same way when they left this off, because they were very deliberate about how they put that tracklist together. It's a very tight 10 songs. There was not any room for excess on that record. The whole point of it was actually simplicity. This song is a ballad through and through in the purest sense of the word. It only picks up very briefly after that guitar solo and then quickly winds back down. And I gotta say, for its like 6.5 minute runtime, it is not terribly dynamic. When you compare other slow songs from the band of a similar runtime, like Buried Alive, which is a song that slowly builds into a heavy send-off, or on Hail to the King, Acid Rain, which is a song with those apocalyptic strings, Set Me Free by comparison, it feels pretty empty and pretty anticlimactic. Dear God, that's another one I should have mentioned, with all those different guitar solos that just slowly ease you out of that song. In terms of a ballad, the model in Avenged Sevenfold's catalog is Seize the Day, but that is short and concise and, at the time, MTV music video length. I will also note that in addition to kind of just being a second Crimson Day, so to speak, the other key reason that Set Me Free wouldn't have necessarily fit on Hail to the King is the presence of those classic Avenged Sevenfold twin guitar leads, which are all over this song and were conspicuously left off of most of Hail to the King. So a song like this in the middle of that track list would have kind of disrupted that shift in the band's sound that Hail to the King was looking to execute on. I mean, those twin guitars on that record show up very briefly on This Means War. There's a couple other instances, I think, but this song would have sounded weird next to all the so-called riff-driven songs on that record. But frankly, it's not just that Set Me Free wouldn't have fit, it's also just not a very good song. Like I said before, it's overly restrained, it's anticlimactic. Obviously, there's a giant lyrical cliche in the chorus here. It doesn't take Einstein to figure that out. I think that dinky little guitar solo in between section A and section B of that first verse just feels really random and kind of like a pointless add-in, considering the fact that we get this big dueling guitar intro and then we have an extended lead section later in the song. Not really sure what purpose this solo serves other than just to fill space. Also, speaking of leads, that little open string motif that happens directly after the main solo, that is uncharacteristically boring from Sinister Gates. It's kind of like a drunken, lazy version of the Hail to the King riff, isn't it? Also, poor Aaron Alj on those drums. That poor guy had to basically play like Lars Ulrich Black Album style drums at the behest of the band members on this record. And the drums in the song, I mean, they sound great production-wise. They're just fantastic. There's a real fat kick drum sound, but man, are they so fucking boring. That poor guy. I mean, the one album he played on, the drums were all stripped back intentionally based on the band's artistic vision, and then he got kicked out just in time for the band to make their wildest, most progressive, and most eclectic album yet, The Stage. I hope he's doing well. I genuinely feel bad for the guy, and this song kind of reminded me of that, how he just got a bum deal creatively with just the period that he entered and exited the band. So yeah, not feeling the song. I'm really glad they left it off Hail to the King, because even though I'm not really into that record, I don't have any major criticisms of it either, or any songs in there that I just flat out don't like. And this certainly would have changed that. It's a nice, pretty ballad attempt, but it falls flat for me. And the band generally seem to have a good ear of what belongs and what doesn't belong on their albums. Like think back to the Nightmare B-sides, Lost It All, 4 AM. They're decent songs, but you couldn't really imagine them on Nightmare, could you? That being said, I'm really looking forward to this Diamonds in the Rough streaming version. Maybe we'll even get some fucking unreleased songs from The Stage. That'd be killer. Either way, we'll see what they have in store. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video and are not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so by clicking right over here, as well as checking out any other rock or metal related content that I publish on a weekly basis. I really appreciate you watching, liking, disliking, just engaging in any fashion. Twitter, Instagram handle @RyanandPannyMusic. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.